Hello Pisces, this is your February reading, and I know that for a lot of you, February is a very intense month because Valentine's Day is in February 14th. So as I shuffle the cards, I'm just going to meditate and ask the tarot to give us the answers we need. Whether you're single or attached or somewhere in between, we want to get answers to our questions about love, keep an open mind, and be willing to hear the message that the tarot gives in this reading. Okay. That was a Page of Pentacles. My card did fall out. It is a Four of Pentacles. Okay. Okay. All right, so Four of Pentacles was your first card. The second card is the Fool. And these first three cards are past influences. I have a Nine of Swords. All right, the first three cards, past influences, they tell me there's worry about letting go, worry about change. Four of Pentacles is about holding on, staying still, no change. Okay, and four is an interesting number because, as you know, the numbers in the tarot are also important. Four is about stability or stagnation. Stagnation means you stay put, nothing changes, although it needs to change. Okay? So this tells me that there was a situation where nothing was changing for the better. But then we have this major arcana card with the Fool, which is about letting go and taking risks. And I also see this as opposition. Someone wanted to keep things the way they are. They wanted to hold on. And then another person decided, no, I'm ready to go for something new. I'm ready to break away. It could also not necessarily be about the conflict between two people, but also about how a situation changes. So we are holding on. This is a matter of holding on, trying to keep things the same, not letting go. And then the situation evolves to where, yes, we let go. We move forward in a new direction. We're taking up our wand of creativity and power and adventure, and we're moving on. The situation is like, nope, you can't hold on forever. Which brings us to this Nine of Swords, which is about worry and fear. Okay? And I don't think that really, when things change and we try to hold on to something and then the universe steps in and that situation changes and all of a sudden we get scared like, oh no, I'm always comfortable with the familiar and the day-to-day and the rituals and the cycles, even if they hurt us. Sometimes we do want to hold on, even though it's a toxic situation for us. And so the universe steps in with the energy of the Fool and says, nope, let go. It's time for something new. Okay? Things happen where people make new decisions and it changes and we get scared like, oh no, this person's out of my life, or this situation changed and I'm not comfortable with this new change. I'm not comfortable with the new. And that's when we have this Nine of Swords. And one of the most important things I've learned, especially not only of my studies in Wicca, but in Buddhism and other philosophies, is that we bring pain and suffering on ourselves when we cannot adapt to change, when we try to hold on, when we cling to expectations. And the best way to avoid this worry and pain and fear is to let go of expectations, take each day as it comes. And that's the spirit that the Fool represents. And sometimes it does get scary, but sometimes it can be for a good thing. When we try to hold on, even though we know deep down in our intuition that holding on is not good for us, yes, we accumulate all these fears and worries, and the slightest change all of a sudden becomes devastating. Our world is wrecked because we spent all this time holding on and building our hopes and our happiness on a particular outcome. And I'm sure many of you have heard that saying, that let it go. And if it stays, that's wonderful. If it leaves, it was meant to leave. Okay? So when we get here to this Nine of Swords and the universe kind of like, nope, we need to take a new direction. This is for your highest good. All of a sudden, it's easy to freak out. Okay, so remember that. We're heading into your present influences. And now we have this King of Wands. Could be a person, a fire sign. We have Death. And that will be in the center of your card. And it's also another major arcana. And take note how Death is right under the Fool. So these cards are not only read horizontally, they can be read vertically. I look at all the connections here. And I think it's interesting that from this major arcana, the Fool, letting go, we go to Death, a sudden ending. And then we have the Hermit. We have solitude, looking for guidance and light. Now, you may not be alone. You might actually be in a relationship. But these three major arcana already tell such an important story. And that is that going through letting go of something can be traumatic. Changing, going through a change and opening yourself up to something new can be traumatic. And many times when that closure comes, we do need the energy of the Hermit. We do need to say, okay, I need to understand why this is happening. What is it that I'm supposed to learn? Okay? And the Death is really a strong card because it means that whatever comes after this death, it changes forever. And the good thing, the positive message, is that there's a resurrection. There's a new beginning. You see this little boy holding up the posies, these white flowers. White is the symbol of innocence. Children are the symbol of innocence. And you start over again. And then we have this energy of the Hermit to where we contemplate this new beginning, where we are right now. So I know that there are a number of you who might have gone through a very difficult change that was unexpected. Maybe someone did break up with you. Maybe someone did just out of the blue said, I need some time, I need some space. Maybe someone that you were emotionally attached to made a different decision and left you and just once again changed or disappointed you as far as your expectations. But sometimes when those things happen, because the Fool is about change and new direction, and so is Death. Death brings closure. The Fool opens up those new beginnings. But we should never be afraid of this, because it usually means that there's something better coming up. Now, as far as this King of Wands, we know that this is about fire, someone who's creative, a leader. he gets around, he's always engaged in activities, but also as far as relationships, this is someone who's very loyal, intense, and passionate. Okay? And remember, and I've said this a number of times in readings, remember the energy of fire, that someone can come on strong and burn passionately and just be very focused and intent. And then that energy can wane, without the balance of the other elements, and all of a sudden they lose interest and they're out of there. So I do pick up a very intense, passionate situation. And it's interesting, you have death that also has the fire as well, that maybe this situation, the passion and the energy burned out, okay, or came to a close. So this is all very interesting, the way this story is falling or coming together. And like I said, even if you are attached or in a relationship, this could be about very difficult changes in your life that have been cause for worry, that you're very apprehensive about. And sometimes there's just nothing you can do. But I'm going into your future influences. Now I have a Queen of Wands. And the Queen of Wands is always the passive. Queens support their kings. And once again, you're looking at confidence. You're looking at someone who's an extrovert. If this is about a person, this could be you, for those of you. Pisces is water. But this could be someone who's extroverted and confident. And once again, there's still loyalty. But queens are passive energy. It's about energy from the inside. Kings are about external actions. They act. And queens, they're more internal. They exist and they rule from a passive position, invisible. It's more about what you're thinking and contemplating more than action. So kings are more about ruling and taking direction. And queens, they're in the background and they take it all in. And I'm not trying to be sexist about men and women. I'm just trying to explain what the role of a Queen of Wands would be versus a King of Wands. Okay? They still have that fiery energy and passion. Okay? But we're talking about this more personal power, not necessarily this external power which is about actions and controlling things and putting things in order. Okay? It's just more supportive. Okay? So the next card, I have an Ace of Wands. And this is nice because aces are about beginnings and wands are about a new life and a new adventure. So it's really interesting how this fiery energy of the wands is playing out, especially since the Fool has that wand. He takes the wand and he goes off on an adventure. He's ready for a new experience. And that's what Ace of Wands are about. Okay? It's this new passion for life. And once again, you'll notice these beautiful white flowers and the butterfly. The butterfly evolves. It's usually in a cocoon. It's a chrysalis. And then it takes flight. It breaks out of the cocoon and it's ready to fly. So I think that's very important. And then you have a Two of Wands, the joining of two forces. This is about power and success. And whenever you get those twos, you know that this is about two forces coming together, whether it's unity, harmony, balance. Twos are always very, very meaningful in the tarot reading. I also think it's nice that after Ace of Wands, you have the Two of Wands, and it seems like this progression from the Queen, and then we take up the Ace of Wands, and then we evolve into a Two of Wands. Two forces that are coming together. But this Two of Wands is also about needing to make decisions. Okay? That, you're in between. You see this man, he's between two wands, and he's holding the world in his hands because he's contemplating what comes next, what direction. Okay? And it's about being prepared for change. Okay? You haven't reached success yet, but you see the possibilities for success in front of you. Note the cat here. Okay? So, Pisces, this is turning out to be very interesting. I think the message from the tarot so far is change is not always welcome. Things ending and abruptly evolving, just like death, but there's always a resurrection. And I think it's very meaningful that you have this Ace of Wands right under death. We go from the Fool, which is a new change that we may not like, and this brings closure. But after death, we get that new beginning. The butterfly comes out of the cocoon. It's ready to fly. And I think definitely that this could apply to a certain person with fire energy. It could definitely apply to the situation in a relationship, that maybe if there was a relationship that ended, the tarot is saying don't lose faith, that there's a new energy coming, whether you get back together or there's a new opportunity for a relationship. But either way, Pisces, I think you might want to be very happy about this. Okay? So your outcome card is... Whoa, we have a Six of Wands, the card of victory. And that is self-explanatory for those of you who've been watching lots of tarot videos. And the prevalence of wands is just really amazing. When I get all of this fire, and you're water, Pisces, but I definitely have a lot of fire in here, this new energy that's coming into your life. And just because you're water doesn't necessarily mean there can't be any fire in your life. Remember, we're all not just one element. We're a combination of elements. Some elements are dominant, and some elements are kind of passive, laying under the surface. But this is sort of like the tarot saying to you, you're going to come out on top. These changes were very hard to adapt to. This ending, this goodbye, whatever it was with this death in the center, it was very difficult to deal with. But you're going to come out on top. Okay? And so take heart, Pisces, that February is going to be a month of transformation for you and a lot of good things happening for you. Okay? So that was your reading. Thank you so much to everyone, especially those of you who took advantage of my special for videos. My special for January was my video readings for $15. I am going to introduce a new reading, a $15 reading, which is about the relationship reading. And so check it out. I posted a video with February readings. And this special relationship is all about giving readings to help people understand what's going on with another person or their attachment to someone else. It's really great, so consider doing that. And hopefully I will get to talk to you soon. So I'm hoping that you're having a wonderful new year, and I hope everybody has a great Valentine's Day. Even if you're not with someone, the best love you can have is the love for yourself. Just remember that. Okay? So take care, and I'll talk to you soon.